How you guys doing? Eugene Johnson, founder of Make Your Mind an Asset. Today I'm super excited. I got a chance to have a good friend of mine on the show. A gentleman who is genuine at heart, loves helping people, has helped thousands of people all across the country, has touched the lives of so many people. One of the most influential people in his company. The man just really understands business. A good friend of mine, somebody that I've known for the last few years. It's just somebody that I think that you guys are really going to take some incredible notes from and get some amazing insights from. So I'm excited. I'm not going to hold it up. I want you guys to hear from my good friend, business leader, coach, mentor, relationship marketing expert, and multiple six-figure income earner, my friend, Mr. Ben Bradshaw. Ben.
Awesome. What's up, brother?
Good to see you, sir.
Good to connect as well.
Good to connect. So, Ben, we've got a nice little colorful history here. And so I want to get a chance. I appreciate you coming and taking the time. And I know you're out here killing it and doing your thing. So I want to get a chance to hear, I want the community to get a chance to hear a little bit about your story and, you know, what you've been through. I know we've kind of watched each other from afar. And been super impressed by the things that you've been able to do. So I'm excited to get a little bit more deeper into your story, because I know we haven't had an opportunity to really have this in-depth conversation, like what have you been through, what's gone well, what hasn't gone well. So give me a little bit about your story from your start into entrepreneurism and kind of how that process played and where you are now.
Absolutely. It's funny. I always reference back to when I was in 8th grade. I had a challenge that I had to overcome. I was coming off the school bus. I was 13, 14 years old, coming up to my house, and I saw an ambulance out front. They were taking my mom out, actually, on a stretcher at that time. She had what they figured out was a brain tumor. And so my parents actually were at Johns Hopkins Hospital, best hospital in the world.
Absolutely.
And they just amazing people. For a couple of years, and so at age 13, 14, lived by myself. Had to grow up quick, which is a blessing in disguise. I wouldn't change it, but so I became an entrepreneur actually at that age. I'm not proud of it much today, but had to figure out how to make things work, and so I would sell candy at school. Mm-hmm. Most people would take their books and notepads and pens and all that stuff to class, and I filled my book bag with candy that I would sell to the other students, because that's how I made money, so I could obviously live. Yeah. And so that's where it started. It kind of molded me, where I am today. Wow. And just a lot of mission.
So basically, started as a young kid, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs, if you really look back, you can see different areas of entrepreneurs, even as a young age. True entrepreneurs, right? So tell me a little bit about the process of getting into the entrepreneurial journey that you're on now.
Absolutely.
You're in a company that I'm very familiar with, and I love the people there. So tell me a little bit about the journey in getting there, because I know that you had to go through a few things along the way to get there.
Absolutely. So I went to college for a little while because I was conditioned and thought that that's what you needed to do. Yeah. To go to school to get good grades in order to get that good job. And I come from an affluent area of Annapolis, Maryland, where that's what you did, and that's what the parents would preach. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, I wasn't one of the children growing up where my parents were pushing college. Yeah. I actually just wanted to go for the time, to have a great time with my friends. And I also didn't want to be left behind. But when I tried out the whole college thing, my mom got sick again. So I actually had to come out of college, which was actually good because I wasn't doing much. Yeah. Being taught how to be an entrepreneur by someone that was given the heat to. And I started to see all my friends that would graduate, college, and they would get these big loans, these student debt, and they were waiting tables. And it was right around the time where the economy started to shift. Mm-hmm. And so I took a job in credit cards. Like the customer service department at a major credit card company, and I learned all about revolving interest. And I started to see every day numerous examples of people that had just crazy credit card debt. They had no idea how revolving interest even worked. And I'm thinking about, oh my gosh, how many people go throughout life, and they're just taught what to think instead of how to think. They don't know how to, budget a checkbook. They don't know, anything about life. And, so I parlayed that into the mortgage industry where I was able to help a lot of people. I was under an umbrella because I was getting a 1099 at the time. So it really, when the housing market was good, it was great. When it was bad, it was worse. So I was just looking to supplement my income when I found the industry of relationship marketing. And so I took everything I learned from there, just wrote the timing, and then I actually found myself, at, I think it was age 25, one of the only friends that had purchased a home. But no one ever taught me, what to do once you get in. So I dropped a bunch of money. I was at an off-commission job, and the housing market fell out, and I found myself multiple months behind my mortgage, thinking like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So I was looking for a way to just leverage my time without, to make income without, trading time for money, if that makes sense. And so that's where I started. I don't want to say started, but that's where I, captivated or elevated my sense of entrepreneurship.
Got it. And then so you were introduced into the relationship marketing industry by, was it Glenn?
Yeah, we got a friend of mine, Glenn Davis, still friends today. We actually went to school.
We were supposed to connect while I was out there, but times.
He just, called me, said, I'm working on a project, think you'd be interested. And I had known that he was in relationship marketing before. Yeah. So funny that, he had been successful. Was driving the car, had the houses, the whole deal. Yeah. And so I knew that he was in a previous relationship marketing company that he never called me about. So I kind of resented him for it. And he knows the story today. We joke and we laugh about it. So when he called me about this venture, even though I gave him a little, flack, I was excited.
Ready to go.
I was excited. So it was all timing.
Yeah. Okay. So that obviously when you went into that, you were in that company for a few years.
I was over there for about 5 years.
Okay. And that parlayed you into the company.
Yeah. So the company experienced a buyout, and some of the things were happening I didn't agree with. So we just decided to part ways. I was actually looking to get out of the industry at that time and go back into mortgage lending, real estate, maybe even start my own company, had some talks. And but again, I knew that the promise of relationship marketing was there, and it's a beautiful thing when it's done the right way.
Absolutely.
And so I found this company, Secret Direct, that I'm still partnering with today, and I love it. It's been amazing, and just getting started, obviously, but had the opportunity to pioneer the East Coast, which was very scary, very rewarding, sort of like risk and reward, if you will. But the company has over-delivered on everything they said, and it's become more like a family than a corporate world, if you will.
Got it. So obviously, there's a few, when you look at the idea of success, there's a few levels, and I think that breakthrough level where all the other levels can become a lot more easier. A lot of people never make it into that breakthrough level, right? There's only 5% of the people in the world that are actually in that breakthrough level that have an opportunity to continue to break through and grow that income as they go. So what was the feeling of moving into that level? Because I think that that in itself, a lot of people don't realize that when you move into that level of income, it's just like, especially if you haven't had it before, and you move into that level of income, it's like, okay, I'm gonna make it. Like I got some bearings behind me. So tell me about that process of you're making stuff work, you're making stuff happen. You might have been making some good income, but then boom, you move into a level where you're in the top 5% of the world. You're earning a level of income that the majority of people are not. You have ability to do things that you hadn't had ability to do before. Tell me about your feeling behind that. Like how did it feel, and then practically, like what did that look like for you?
Sure. Well, I have very lofty goals, so I haven't achieved them just yet. Yeah. But I'm definitely not where I was previously. The money's great, it's just a byproduct of the quality you can live. Yeah. We went from, like I said, being multiple months behind my mortgage to now my wife and I are stay-at-home parents, have a little 14-month-old girl who will never see daycare, never not know her parents, and for me that's huge, just to be present. Whereas most people nowadays are working jobs and sending their children to be raised by someone else who doesn't have the same values.
Absolutely.
And it's promoting a system that, creates followers and not leaders.
Yeah.
And so for me, that you can't put a price on that. And it was just hard work.
Yeah.
I knew there was a price to pay. You were gonna, you either pay now, play later, play now, pay later. At the end of the day, success exacts a price.
Absolutely.
You just have to figure out if you're gonna step up to the counter and you're gonna pay full retail, or you're gonna try to get it on sale and it won't go on sale. So,
Absolutely.
so for me, it was just about showing up, being prepared when the opportunity, showed itself and became present. And I went to work.
Yeah.
I went to work. Most people, they have this wishbone, but they don't replace with their backbone. And, so therefore they just have these goals that end up becoming a false expectation. And, they never actually materialize into reality.
Yeah. So give me, I usually ask entrepreneurs this because I'm always curious to know about the hard times. And one of the main reasons why I ask this question is because I want people to realize that hard times do occur, right?
Yeah.
You can't get around them, you can't get past them, no matter what you do, you're going to have to figure out a way to go through the storms, right? So tell me about some of the hard times of you, wherever in the story that you want. It doesn't have to be in the beginning, but give me an idea of here's the times where it got really tough and I didn't know if I was going to make it.
Sure. So, well, actually, starting. When you first start, formulation is, in any business is just kind of crazy.
Absolutely.
Even the concentration groups.
Yeah.
And, so when I first started into relationship marketing, I thought it was just the most amazing thing ever. I always thought that you had to own a business to be free, because most of my friends' parents all own businesses.
Yeah.
And, but owning a business takes capital. And sometimes a lot of capital.
Absolutely.
And then it takes either 3 to 5 years to figure out if you're going to make it or break it.
Absolutely.
And so for me, when I first got introduced to relationship marketing, I'm like, this is the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah.
I don't have to store products in my garage. My house doesn't have to be a warehouse.
Yeah.
I can just, deliver superior products to the consumer, and I get paid for consulting and I'm selling.
Yeah.
I was like, this is amazing. And I thought everyone would be able to.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out that, most people, they don't, agree with it. Some of them are actually jealous because they don't want you to reach a level where they're not willing to go.
Yeah.
And so, the number one reason why people don't get ahead in life in anything is because friends, family, and neighbors,
Yeah.
they listen to people that have their problems and not their solutions. And so very quickly I learned that, you had to let go of some people.
Absolutely.
And they say you're the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. And, so I had to change my circles.
Yeah.
The people that had what I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
they introduced me to, personal development, things of that nature, where I could grow as a person. I had to put down the ESPN magazine and, pick up Success magazine.
Yeah.
I had to put down, just, the novels or, in school, for example, they give you books like To Kill a Mockingbird and things like that, instead of Think and Grow Rich and Napoleon Hill. And those books changed my life.
Yeah.
It gave the average person like myself, maybe even below average from where I came from, the ability to not just, maintain or be average, but to get ahead.
Yeah.
And I had to work hard, but I knew I was going to work hard 20 to 40 years anyway. Might as well do it for myself.
Got it. Since you talked about it, since you brought it up, let's talk about it. Let's talk about personal development.
Sure.
Because I witness a lot of entrepreneurs, and I realize a lot of their downfall. Because and just so you know, the community, most people who are watching this are either they're either executives, like high-level executives, and they're working their way up the corporate ladder for whatever reason. They're trying to get to the CEO position, things of that nature. Or you have people who are entrepreneurs, just started a business, ready to kind of either grow, build their business or scale. So either position, you realize that growth is a necessity.
Absolutely.
But most people in entrepreneurships, especially new entrepreneurs, if they're not cultivated in an environment that forces the growth,
Sure.
they normally don't. And so tell me about the process of going through the growth and what the type of books you had to read, the type of person you had to become. Because the person you are today is not the Ben Bradshaw from 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago, right? So tell me about that process.
Well, actually, I had a mentor of mine a long time ago who told me if you're not growing, you're dying. You never stay the same. So it's and he told me also that water is like money is like water; it seeks its own level.
Yeah.
You'll never outgrow your check, and the day you think you do, be scared.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it was I wanted to grow a large organization of people that I could help. and be a servant leader. You know, instead of them, you know, looking at me, I would be looking at them to help. Which is different. But you know, it's so I entered into personal development. I knew that, you know, if I was going to be able to teach people how to get through challenges in their life, I had to actually endure them myself. You know, and it's one of those things where it's like, listen, you know, everyone wants to look at the rainbow, right? But they just want sun. They don't want the actual rain that it takes to even achieve it. You know, the rainbows are pretty, you know, but you gotta go through both. And so I think well, number one, you definitely have to pay your dues. You have to be willing to be bad before you're willing to be good. And you just have to pay your time. You know, you can't avoid failure to get to success. You can't just go the opposite way. You have to go through it. And you know, we're conditioned growing up, you know, 14,000 hours of school to be, you know, taught, you know, hey, listen, it's a bad thing to be rejected. You know, it's a bad thing if someone tells you no. You know, we're taught how to become a good employee, or we're taught to, you know, avoid, you know, rejection and things like that, being made fun of. But there's no success found in your comfort zone. You have to be willing to go through the no's. Absolutely. You know, it's just the way that it is.
So tell me about your favorite, you know, what book or audio or person or mentor had the biggest impact on you going through your entrepreneurial journey?
Sure. I would say two. You know, Napoleon Hill, just Think and Grow Rich. I mean, he wrote a book, Think and Grow Rich. You know, where he you know, interviewed, I mean, some of the most, you know, wealthiest and just successful people in the world, and he put all of that information in one book, and I was able to pick it up for, you know, not even download it for less than $10. And you know, I always heard the running joke on us Americans: if you ever want to hide something from an American, you put it in a book because they don't pick it up. And you know, so it's that right there. That book changed my life. How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie. I heard, and I don't know if this is a real statistic, but I heard that book has sold more copies than the Bible.
Wow.
You know, so How to Win Friends and Influence People. Pretty good book, right?
Absolutely.
And then Jim Rohn. I mean, Jim Rohn just, you know, he just does it for me. Fortunately, I was fortunate enough a few months ago to visit his place where he grew up in Idaho. And
Farm Boys in Idaho.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing, and just it was a very emotional trip. You know, I got to spend some time on the farm and the winery and things like that. It was just it was a dream come true.
That's awesome. So Think and Grow Rich. Now, that was my first book. But I come from a little bit of a different background. Like, I come from, those people who know my story know, I come from the streets of New York, right? So that being my first book at 18 years old, I didn't understand what the heck I was reading. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but if this is personal development, I'm going to lose this game because I can't compete. I'm reading this book, I'm like, I need a degree in master's in psychology to figure this out, right? Then right after that, I listened to Jim Rohn, and it brought everything back into to a light where I could take the information and run with it, right? Then went back to read Think and Grow Rich after I learned a little bit more, and it made probably the biggest impact on me reading it the second time, right? So I love that portion of your story. So tell me a little bit about, let's talk about business, right? Where do you see, not just your industry, but where do you see business going in the future? Like, what type of vision do you see for business, you know, over the next 5 or 10 years? You said, man, I really think that the industry of entrepreneurs and the business culture, the business markets today, I think we're going in this direction in the future.
Absolutely. Well, I think brick and mortar is becoming a thing of the past.
Absolutely.
You know, retail, as you know, is not doing very well, and I think it's about the experience. You know, I think you know, brick and mortar is now click and order. If you can, you know, you can build a massive business just directing people's existing or creating buying habits for them, and delivering products to their doorstep. I mean, Amazon, for example, is going to be delivering products by drones, right? I mean, it's crazy, you know. So I think there's not a reason to have all the overhead, you know. And if you walk into a retail establishment, very rarely do you ever get great customer service. Because the people are miserable, and it's about the buying habit, you know. And people aren't necessarily watching TV anymore. These commercials and celebrity endorsements, they don't believe them. Where the celebrities are just collecting a check and might not even be using the product.
For sure.
But, you know, we're preconditioned to think, oh my gosh, when that person uses this product, I should buy it. And it's no longer the case. It just drives up the cost of the product anyway. You know, so people are buying from people they like, know, and trust.
Yeah.
It's built on relationships, and your network is your net worth. Relationships are currency. It's how you treat people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you know, it's going to be. You look at Amazon, for example. You look at, you know, it's all these retail establishments they're just not doing well, and I think it's going to continue to change.
I agree. And a lot of these guys are either going to adjust or they're going to die. Just like for most companies. You know, a lot of people, you know, get mad at Amazon and they say, you know, Amazon, you ruined this industry or you ruined that industry. And I love Jeff Bezos' answer to that. His answer is, no, I didn't ruin that industry. Innovation ruined that industry. The future ruined that industry. If I wouldn't have created what I created, somebody else would have. Right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I agree 100%. So now let's talk social media then, because that's a huge portion of the relationship building process of business today. You know, most businesses are either living or dying in social media, or they're not realizing how much social media has an effect on long-term business, right? So since we're talking about business in the future, you know, how are you using social media for an effective part of building relationships in business? And one thing that I want to preface this by is some people are selling on social media, which is the dumbest thing you could possibly do.
Sure.
But on the relationship side, incredible opportunity to give value,
Sure.
and then ask for a sale in return at the end of the value exchange, right? So tell me a little bit about, you know, how you're using social media.
Sure. Well, so social media, I think, especially in my industry, you know, you have so many people that they're not necessarily willing to pay their time or their dues to become a professional. You know, so you have a bunch of people that, you know, the big stigma is that I don't want to get rich quick, and then they get rich. You know, they don't get rich smart, and then they quit. You know, and it's about, you know, doing the personal development to learn, you know, what to do, what not to do, and things of that nature. And what do I mean by that? I mean, you know, just posting like an opportunity link. You know, thinking that everyone is actually gonna, you know, take a look at what you have to offer. It's not true. They're gonna unfollow you and unfriend you, and they're gonna tell the rest of your actual network, hey, listen, stay away from this person, because it's spam. And you look at information, how fast it's getting to the market nowadays. People don't even check it because they're being harassed and their information is being sold. So for me, I don't sell on social media. I can't stand when people do that. I'm actually someone that does hide this people. What I do is I sell the lifestyle, try to add value, you know, and talk about personal development, things like that, you know, and give, you know, maybe quotes, you know, stay positive, you know, because especially in today's society, because you'd be surprised as you scroll through the news feed how many people are complaining just about everything. And you know, so if you can be the best part of someone's day by delivering value, whether it's on a social media post or a picture or a quote or a link to, you know, some sort of positivity. You know, I've had people that will reach out to me to say, you know, you don't know what that meant. You know, that's helped me so much with the challenge I was having in my life. So it's all about lifestyle to me and adding value to others.
Got it. Okay, so what's some advice you give for newbies? You know, new entrepreneurs, no matter what industry, and you know, what's some advice you would say? Hey, you know, this is what you're going to go through, or this is what you need in order to. These are the skills necessary, or the ideas, or the philosophy necessary to create success.
Sure. I would say everything is a ratio. You know, it's there's everything is calculated. You know, if you know, in the major leagues, for example, you know, you go up to bat 10 times, you get out 7 times, whether it's, you know, striking out or, you know, when you're running to base. But if you get on base 3 times out of 10, you make millions of dollars. The challenge is, again, people aren't, you know, open to being rejected and hearing no. They shy away from it. And, you know, if you're going to run from the no's, you'll never get to the yeses. You have to embrace them. You have to know that exposure is everything, new business is everything, but fortune's in the immediate and the long-term follow-up as well. I heard a statistic a long time ago that 80% of sales actually happen on the 5th through 12th exposure. You know, so you got to just keep mining for gold. It's there. And you know, if you walk away, someone else will get it. You're just preparing it for the next person. So it's kind of crazy how people quit way too soon. You know.
So, you know, you're in a process where you're building a team, right? You are getting a team around you. I know myself in my company, we're constantly building a team. We're looking for the absolute best people that we can find to build around us, because nothing happens without the right team of people around you, right? So as you're building the team, what's some things that you look for in the type of person that you're looking to build with? What type of ideas or what type of philosophies would you like that person to have? The perfect person for you to start to add to your team. What are some of those qualities that you're looking for?
That's a good question. Yeah, I would say, you can't coach work ethic.
Yeah.
You can't coach ambition. I mean, you have it or you don't. But you can coach activity. Again, you have to be willing to be bad before you're going to be good. But at the end of the day, it's just one of those things where you have to have those goals, and they have to drive you. I look for people that are already busy, because busy people like to get paid while they're being busy, right? I don't look for the people that, they don't have time, but they're at home not doing anything. Like my old friends, they would watch SportsCenter probably 10 or 15 times in a day.
Yeah, but they're busy.
But they're busy. I don't have time for that. So I look for the people that say, hey, listen, I got a lot going on, but if I can, make this system work, this is about the system. And I look for the people that you don't have to coach their work ethic.
Okay. So when you get these people, what's your leadership style? Like there's some type of people who have a more grunt leadership style and entrepreneurship, and a lot of that comes from, getting a chance to hear like the Steve Jobs story, or whoever, right? Who was a prick, and they basically, this is how they led people. You just follow what my lead and do what I say. Then there are other type of leaders. There are a bunch of different type of leaders. So tell me a little bit about your leadership style, how you work with people, what's the process there?
Sure. Well, what I do when I first, get introduced to anyone, or if I see you on my timeline, the cool thing is that we have a real-time timeline where people come on board. I'll call them and welcome them. Congratulate them on making the biggest decision that they could ever make in their life. Because I know it's one that changed my life. And I know it sounds cliche, but it happened. And I'll get their goals and set an appointment to do what we call a blueprint, which is just a getting started. Because what we want to do is we want to find out what the end game is, so we can track back and figure out the activity it's going to take. Because in this profession, unfortunately, there's such a high rate of failure. And, because people, they spend more time planning a vacation, for a week or two to vacate their life than where they want to be in the next 3 to 5 years. And when you show them a plan that's possible and it's going to take work, they either do it or they don't, but they'll own the responsibility at that point, because you remove all the excuses. Absolutely. And I'll introduce them to so many different examples of success. And I'll just tell stories. Tell stories of people that were just like them. And this is what they had to do to overcome those challenges. Right? Because people don't have problems, they have challenges. They just don't know the difference. And again, it's about the education. And I relate it to the gym. If you go to the gym and you work out, you lift the weights, you'll get results. If you don't, you won't. The challenge with us in the United States is that not only do we not go to the gym, we actually, some of us are too lazy to even go in and cancel the membership. My
gym donation.
The gym donation,
I got you. Okay, so how would you characterize yourself as an entrepreneur? What's one word that you would use to characterize yourself as an entrepreneur?
Great question. I would say ambitious.
Okay.
Ambitious.
Okay. And so what do you think were the triggers that push the ambitious side of you? Because I think that we all have a level of ambition somewhere in our lives. Some people a little bit heavier than others because I think ambition is like a seed. And if that seed is constantly watered with the right nutrients and things of that nature, it can grow into a large tree. Some people's seeds, they've got it covered with a wrapped in plastic, so it can't grow, right? But others allow the situation, circumstances to help feed that ambition, right? So what's some of the things that have fed your ambition to help it grow?
Sure. Well, it's funny, they say you can always count the number of seeds in an apple, but you can't count the number of apples in a seed. So you just never know, what's going to cultivate and, what's going to harvest, right? And so, for me, it's just, I gave myself some goals when I first got into the relationship marketing profession. And then I gave myself the ability to dream bigger and to think bigger. because of the small accomplishments, they led to the bigger ones. And so, my whole vision has changed. Just the ability to think bigger by helping a lot of other people, accomplish their goals. Zig Ziglar says you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything that you want. Yep. And so for me, it's really, the money's great. Anyone that tells you it's not about the money, money is the byproduct of the quality of life. You can live in the amount of people that you can affect. Yeah. I'm talking about the people that can't actually participate in their own rescue, because of maybe they're in a third world country or, what happened. Yeah. And those are the people that you can affect with the money. But again, it's just a byproduct of you showing up, having the right vehicle, and then just going to work.
Got it. Okay. So what's the major things that you're looking for or looking at when you're looking at investing in a specific company?
Well, so for me, it's all about capital. Yeah. It's not about sweat equity. Yeah. I love to work hard in the vehicle, Secret Direct, the company that I'm passionate about. Yeah. Because it gives the average person the ability to change their life as it did for me. Yeah. And so I just pay it forward. And so we put together our very first investment, a company called Core22. It's core-22.com. It's a nutritional weight loss company that teaches you how to eat. And the different principles and such. And it was founded by two of my mentors, actually, who are outside of relationship marketing. Two people that I love and adore, and I go to them for advice. And I believe in it. And so it's right at that tipping point. My team and I use the term "my" very loosely. Our organization, Secret, we were able to raise. It's been almost $200,000 that we personally invested into. Core22. Awesome. And it was a pretty safe investment as our first project. The next one's coming up here in November, and there were some people that weren't able to get in the game because they just weren't taking the business serious enough. Yeah. But I put them in front of it just to let them know what they're missing out on, to create the value of hey, this is where we're going. Yeah. And so that'll be coming up in November. But I love companies that solve problems. Yeah. New ideas. Like Uber, for example. I'm in love with Uber. I get so many free rides, just from referring it, just like you would anything else.
Uber is what I look at when I'm looking at investments. I think that, the future that I see a future of saving people time, and I think that time is really. When I look at investments, I'm looking at, does this company sell you time? Uber doesn't sell cabs; they sell time and efficiency, right? Or you look at Instacart. You get a chance to buy your food and then they deliver it to your house, right? They sell you time and efficiency. So that's when I'm looking at, companies. I'm looking at what are you selling time and efficiency? Because I think that's going to be huge. I mean, that's not the only industry, but I think that industry is going to be huge moving forward. Having software to find the value of time in a particular person's business. So let me ask you these last final questions. How do you define success?
I would define success as passion and intention. Just being on purpose too. It's having a purpose, beginning with the end in mind, and just know you're gonna have to pay a price in anything you do. And you just got to figure out if it's gonna be worth it, right? First you got to figure out if it's gonna be a vehicle that can deliver what you want. And then you just show up. You show up and you work. You just embrace the rejection. And you grow and you keep going. You deliver value, and you treat people the way you want to be treated. And you just you're intentional about what you do. So for me, Secret Direct, I love the company. I love the product. But at the end of the day, it's it's a vehicle. It's a vehicle to treat people the right way. To pay it forward, and it's just the beginning of where we're going to be.
Absolutely. Okay. And so this is probably one of my favorite questions. If you were to go back in history and find one person that you can sit down with for a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, and pick their brain for an hour, anybody in history, who would you go sit down with, and what would you talk to them about?
That's a great question. There's so many, by the way. So it is hard to narrow it down to just one.
Pull one personality, the person that you think will make the most impact on your life moving forward.
Sure. William Wallace.
Oh wow, I wasn't expecting that one. Okay.
So, when I started with my company, it was secret to life. I mean, it was at a point where I was on the East Coast, my wife and I, and it was just, wasn't here.
Yeah.
And, so it was very scary. But I had the opportunity to change a lot of lives. You look at William Wallace, for example, to deliver freedom to Scotland.
Yeah.
It was being ruled by, the other country. And, it was very scary, I'm sure. But it was necessary.
Would you ask him how he paid his fee?
I'd probably show up for coffee with my face.
Exactly right.
But I'm sure it was scary. But at the end of the day, I mean, it was he was willing to die for what he believed in, and retreat wasn't even an option.
Yeah.
And he led the country to freedom. With just some regular farmers and people that weren't fighters, and just people that were just tired of having someone's thumb on them.
Yeah.
And for me, I take that very serious because I like to free people from the corporate world.
Yeah.
The people that they finish their tenure at their career, where they're let go and replaced by someone that will be working for less money that's younger.
Yeah.
And then they have to go find another job, and they work until when when they're called home.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like there's vehicles out there that can deliver your dreams.
Absolutely.
Can deliver your freedom.
Yeah.
And so for me, freedom is being able to dictate where you want to go, with whom, not have to worry about all the other stuff. Yeah. And it's available, but again, there's a price to pay. So I would love to interview William Wallace.
Wow, that was an interesting one. I wasn't expecting that one. Okay. So last question. Entrepreneurship, crazy journey, crazy situations that have happened. What's one thing that if you had an opportunity to go back and change? And I understand that one change could mean that you're not where you are. But if you would look at it practically, you said, if I was to go back, I would probably do this one thing a little bit differently.
It's tough. The question, that's a tough one because I feel like, there are no bad experiences as long as you learn. Yeah. Because they prepare you for where you are and where you're going. Yeah. And you're going to have them. It's, and you can't teach someone to go through something you're not willing to embrace. Yeah. So for me, it's, I would say, I don't know if I have one, honestly. I've been trying to think, but it's, I had a friend calling me about this company for 8 months before I decided to take a look. Right? But at the end of the day, it was, I had to appreciate the struggles of, where I was, previously in order to, I had to embrace it in order to appreciate what was being offered, and where I could take it. So I can't really say anything because it prepared me for life. Yeah. I'm going to make more mistakes, but I'm not sure that I'm not sure that I'm even going to, want to change them in the future either, because it's just going to prepare me for the amount of lives that I can change and the success that we can do with them.
Awesome. Okay, so one last message that you would give to the entrepreneurial community right now. Sure.
I would just say, embrace your struggles. They're designed to make you better. It's you made an appointment to be where you are today. Just like in the next 5 years, the decisions you make now are going to prepare you for where you are in 5 years from now. So it's just pay your dues. Prepare yourself. There's going to be rejection. There's going to be hardships. And at the end of the day, just it's something that you have to embrace, because going forward, it's available. Success is out there. Even in a recession, people are getting wealthy. Money, it doesn't. It's not about money. It's about it's changing hands, and you have to take chances and to make advances. So I would just say embrace your challenges.
Awesome. Well, appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Ben. And this is Eugene Johnson signing out. Appreciate you guys' time, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Take care.
When it comes to success, the question is, are you defeating yourself? Are you putting obstacles in your own way? When you look into the mirror, is the person in the reflection your worst enemy?